Okay, so I'm going to do the 5 random things. I said in an earlier video I'd been tagged like twice, and I hadn't been able to get a chance to actually respond and do one of those 5 random things updates. So I'm going to do it, and I wrote my list because otherwise I'll just sit here and go, and I don't know. So, random thing number one, I can't stand green peppers. I hate them. They're disgusting. I think I used to like them when I was a kid. Like, I kind of remember eating them, but I can't stand them now. It's just like they seem to taint whatever food they're with. Like if they're on a pizza or whatever, the whole pizza tastes like green peppers. Absolutely can't stand them. But on the flip side, I love hot peppers, like jalapenos and that sort of stuff. So, anyway, that's fact number one: is that I can't stand green peppers. Fact number two is that a hobby that I have is photography. I've been doing it on and off for a while now, and I have a couple of digital SLR cameras, and I used to do film, but I do more digital now. For a while, I was making it into an income. I've done wedding photography, photography for, like some portrait photography, like high school senior pictures. I've also done a lot of family photography and, like new baby, kid stuff. And I like it. It's really cool. But what I noticed, like what would happen is that it was becoming a job, and it was just like, there's so much time on photo editing and all that that I wasn't enjoying it as much. So I just said I'm not going to do this and try to pick up gigs with it and make money, especially weddings. I mean, you can make a ton of money at weddings, but it's a ton of work. So I just do it for myself now, and mostly I like to do landscape photography. I think that kind of has to do with just me being kind of a quiet, kind of a loner person, I guess. Sometimes I just like to go out with my camera and find cool stuff to take pictures of. So, if I get a chance, I'll put a link to my Flickr site so you can check out some of my stuff. So I'll put that up in the little box. So that was two. Number three, I'll give you some drama. So let's see. I think I mentioned a couple of times on here that my dad died in 2002. In fact, his birthday would have been on August 10th, so that was a few weeks ago. This was a really crazy time in my life. I was 28, and my mom, I was home. My parents are divorced. I was home watching a movie and got this phone call like late at night, and it was my mom, and she was in the hospital. And she's like, they think I've gone into congestive heart failure. I'm like, what the hell? So get to the hospital, and what had happened is that she had gone for a walk that afternoon, gone for a hike, and then came home, sat down, and then all of a sudden couldn't breathe. And what they had found out had happened was that a valve in her heart burst. And so, they were saying you're going to have open heart surgery and have this valve replaced. Otherwise, you're going to die. So that was obviously really stressful, and I called my dad. Again, my parents were divorced. Told him, and they weren't real close, but he was supportive of me, and obviously wanted my mom to get better, and was like, let me know what I can do. And he's like, keep me informed. So a couple days go by. They're still trying to get my mom ready for surgery. And I keep calling my dad every day to kind of update him, and I can't get him, which is really not right. I usually could, especially since, he knew there was drama going on with my mom. And I was, just so stressed out, I think, with my mom and everything. I really wasn't thinking clearly that how odd this was that he hadn't called back. Then finally, I was actually in my car driving to work because I decided to work like half a day, and I'd taken a bunch of days off work, and my mom was like, there's nothing you can do here, just go to work for a few hours, get some time to do something you need to do, and come back. So I'm driving work, and my cell phone rings. I pick it up, and it's the police, and the police are like, is your father, and then his name, I'm like, yeah, and they're like, well, we have bad news for you, and I just knew. I was like, is he dead? And they're like, yes. And they were like, you need to pull over, because again, I was driving. They're like, pull over, so I pulled over into like this school parking lot, and they're like, they found him. It looked like he was getting ready to maybe get dressed and go someplace, and it looks like he collapsed and probably died instantly from a heart attack. So in the middle of my mom being in the hospital with heart surgery, I get the news that my dad has had a massive heart attack and was dead. So, yeah, so I'm stuck on the side of the road, and by myself, and the police are on the phone with me, and they're like, okay, we're going to send a car to give you an escort home. I'm like, okay, because I'm really shaken up and just, pretty screwed up by this point. I'm like, fuck. So I call my mom, and, she's in the hospital. And, I mean, thinking back on it, it probably wasn't the best thing to do at that time, but I had to talk to somebody. So I call my mom, and I'm like, I have really bad news for you, but I'm okay. And I told her, I'm like, I just got a call from the police, and what had happened was Dad hadn't shown up for work for a couple of days. His employer called the police to go check on him, and they found him dead. So I had to tell that to my mom over the phone when she's in the hospital. So, yeah, long story short, after all that, I was the executor of the estate. I was 28 years old, no other brothers or sisters to help me out with it, and my mom couldn't help because, she's having surgery. So, yeah, it was insane, absolutely insane. A really hard part of that was that I had to go tell my grandpa, my dad's dad, who was 98, that his son died. And, yeah, and then after that, I kind of took care of my grandpa. He had lived in an assisted living facility, but I had to take care of him still. So anyway, that was a lot of random facts, I suppose, wrapped up in there. But kind of going to the bigger one was that my dad died like 5 years ago, and my dad died and my mom was in the hospital all at the same time. But thankfully, my mom got through surgery, and she's been doing great since, no problem. So that's all good. Let's see. Let's go on to a happier topic. Topic number 4, random thing number 4. I used to own a bookstore. I took a break from social work for a while. I was really fried, and my dream was to own my own business, and I just did it. I owned a bookstore for a couple of years back in Missouri, where I'm from, and actually I closed it when I got ready to move out here to San Francisco. So yeah, I was a small business owner for a while, and it was really fun. Didn't make a lot of money, but I learned a lot, and I think that it just feels good to have accomplished that goal that I wanted to do for myself. So yeah, that's number 4. I used to own my own business. And number 5, this is actually really sad. I wrote down like this cryptic note, and I can't freaking read it. I have no freaking clue what this says. And obviously, I can't remember what number 5 was. So I'm just going to come up with something totally random. Let's see. Trips. I've been to a couple of different countries. First time I was out of the States, I went to England and backpacked around Europe. Went to England and Wales, so that was really cool. Since then, I've been to Ireland and I've been to Scotland. So I've been, a few places I wanted to go in Europe. There's still a lot of places I want to go. I want to go to New Zealand and just all sorts of places. But I guess my 5th thing is that I really love traveling, especially traveling overseas. So, all right. Well, that's my phone. So I guess that's the end of my 5 random thoughts or random facts. So take care.